I'm your host, Kelly Morgan, indie author and indie publisher. Welcome to another episode of The Author's Mic. Welcome to today's episode. Everyone, it's Kelly. Welcome to another episode of The Author's Mic, and happy Black History Month. And because it's Black History Month, I decided that I wanted to talk about the author voice. And when I say the author voice, I'm not talking about branding or marketing or trends. I'm talking about the actual voice in which you write from as an author, the one that shows up on the page, whether you're in control or not. Now, the author voice does not exist in a vacuum. It never has. It has truly been shaped by who you are as a person, how you move through the world and how the world responds to you. Now, for Black authors, authors of color, especially, your voice is layered. It's not just style, it's history, it's context, and it's lived experiences that are showing up between the lines. So when people talk about finding, their author voice, they usually frame it like it's a craft exercise, right? Like I'm going to, figure out how to find my voice. But for a lot of us, the voice has already been questioned, labeled, misunderstood, long before we ever sat down to write the book. And that really matters. And I can totally relate to that. That resonates with me because You Sound White came from that place. That book was about reclaiming my author voice through fiction. It wasn't about explaining, and it wasn't about justifying how I sound or how I write. It was about showing through a fictional story that it's not okay to label people based on how they speak or how they look. And it's not okay to decide who someone is before you actually have listened to them. So, as an author, I am very aware that voice and identity get tangled together in this publishing world. People don't just read the work, they tend to read into the work, and they bring assumptions with them. Sometimes those assumptions shape how your book is categorized. Sometimes those assumptions, cannot talk today. Sometimes those assumptions shape how your book is marketed or even received. And so that's why the author voice is a real big deal to me, because I have found the hard way that when you let other people define your voice, you start editing yourself before the reader ever gets the chance to really meet you. You kind of start watering things down. And then you start wondering, is this sentence too much? Or is this idea too specific? Am I going to offend anybody? And then you start writing around your truth instead of from it. When I wrote You Sound White, somebody told me that that book was never going to get published or nobody was ever going to be interested because the title was incredibly offensive, right? And somebody even apologized for the title. And I just don't know where that comes from, because You Sound White was refusing that was my way of refusing to let other people edit my voice. If I would have changed the title, somebody would have edited my voice. If I would have changed the narrative of the story, I would have let someone be editing my voice. But let me say this. My author voice doesn't need to be translated to be valid. It doesn't need to be softened to be understood, and it absolutely does not need to fit into somebody else's comfort zone to get space. Um, I honestly think that when I think about Black History Month, it reminds me about all the Black voices in literature that have always existed, even when they were not welcomed. All right. They were maybe archived or not even celebrated in real time. But our stories didn't start because the industry noticed us. They started because we all had something to say. And the industry maybe didn't notice us. As an author of color, I think that when I think about my author voice, um, I think about permission, or really the lack of the need for permission, right? I mean, your author voice isn't something that you are waiting to be approved. right? It's something that you claim. And when you write from that space, to me, your work becomes clearer, not because it's louder, but because it's honest. If you are an author and you are listening to this and you've been questioning your voice, then I want you to consider this. Maybe your voice isn't the problem. Maybe the problem is the expectation that it should sound like someone or something else. For me, You Sound White represented a turning point, right? It was a moment that I stopped trying to write what I thought people wanted to see. I stopped writing from assumptions and I wrote from truth. I refused to water down the stories and the experiences that happened to me that are in the book. Now, granted, the book is fiction, but a lot of those experiences, those are real. And some of them, some people have said that didn't happen or that doesn't really happen. Yes, it does. And when you write from your author voice, I believe you can get real clear on what it is that you're trying to say, right? Everything that I have built since then has grown out of the decision to become a published author, write the book, publish the book, and then put it out there for the world. I didn't put it out there for validation. I put it out there for me. And if it resonates with somebody, I think that's fantastic. And if it's not their cup of tea, that's okay too. Because for me, like I said, it represented a turning point for me. So, y'all, this episode hasn't been about promotion about the book. It's really been about authorship and finding your voice. It's about your voice and about writing in a way that feels aligned rather than adjusted. Remember, your voice, your book, and it's your chance to write without any apologies. All right, so let me give you my laundry list of things before I let you go. As always, if you are an author and you would like to share this platform with me, you don't even have to be an author. If you're a creative in the industry, in the indie author space, if you have something to say, I would love to share the platform with you. It's very easy. Go to my website, go to the Be a Guest tab, fill out the information, and boom, you are a guest. If you are an author on your journey, I've got a free guide. It's 44 pages. It's a PDF and it's a flip book. Go download it. It's free. It has a lot of good information that you need to kind of help you on your author journey. If you are interested in supporting me, like I said, I have two books. One of them I talked about today, You Sound White. The other one, Wait for It, which is also an audiobook. I ship them myself. So I have free goodies. I sign them. I don't charge you for shipping, but you can get you can get them wherever good books are sold. And then lastly, Bright-Headed Publishing, guess what, y'all? We have a book club. It is called the IRS. One of my goals is to grow this book club as big as possible because we only support indie authors. So it's twofold. You can join us as a reader. It's free. Would love to have your voice. The join link is on the website. You can pitch us as an author. We are actually looking for a read. I don't know if we'll have one by the time you're watching this video, but as the time I'm recording it, we don't have a book to read. So we are open to your book. Pitch us as an author. All right, you guys, that is all I have today. Again, it is the beginning of Black History Month. I just wanted to talk about your author voice and writing from that place of authenticity, writing from your truth, writing without apology. All right, you guys, keep writing, and I will catch you next Wednesday.